Welcome to the 5-Year You podcast, a show dedicated to helping you become the best version of yourself one day at a time. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Kat, and we promise to keep it raw, real, and relatable.
Are you ready to grow? Hey, Five Tribe. Today's episode is called How to Constantly Improve Yourself, and it's something we're huge proponents of, and we've talked about different aspects of this on the show over and over again, but I'm really happy and excited to talk about just how to constantly keep growing over and over again. How are you doing today, Kat?
I'm doing well. I'm here. It's the morning. We're doing the thing. How are you?
I'm good. It's been, we haven't been in the studio for 2 weeks now because we were traveling and everything. And
Yeah.
I'm sitting down, and as soon as we hit record, I'm like, oh, I'm ready to go. And this is such a great topic. I am so excited for this. So I think when we talk about constant improvement and how to keep growing and everything, I think a lot of times we get overwhelmed. The first thing is like just pure overwhelm when we talked with our clients, because they're like, okay, I'm here. I don't really know where I want to be. And then they get that idea of where they want to be. And they're like, okay, how do I get there tomorrow? And we have to take that step back with them and go, look, let's just look at the path. And then we're going to start making the little changes at a time. What has been your experience when it comes to this kind of constant improvement in your life?
I think it's a double-edged sword, and I definitely wanted to highlight that a little bit because you and I we kind of have that achiever mentality where we're always trying to do things better. And you're laughing because it's true.
It's so true. Yeah.
And the downside to that is that it can lead to a lot of discontentment with the present version of our lives. And so over the years, one thing you and I have worked on, and it's challenging, is you can be happy and content with your life as it is and still want to improve. So we talk about this use of "and" a lot, right? Like you can be happy and sad at the same time. You can be excited and exhausted at the same time. So you can still be a happy, content person and still have room for improvement. And so a part of this growth journey for both of us, and something we encourage our clients to do, is to be kind to themselves, to try to look at the gain, not the gap, right? Not everything that's missing, not how fast it should be going, but simply to enjoy the pleasure of self-improvement, I think is what a lot of coaches miss, is that this is supposed to be fun. Like it's supposed to be a privilege and a joy to improve.
I completely agree with everything you said, which does not make for great back and forth banter, unfortunately, but let me try. I think that for us, and I know a lot of people that are kind of achievers and you have these big goals you want to reach, there is a very big difference in looking at something and going, okay, I want to be the CEO of this company that I'm working at right now in 5 years. So I need to do. But there is a energy, a positive piece that comes with you when you're like, I'm good where I'm at. I want to go here, but I'm going to enjoy the steps as I go up the mountain, knowing that every step is got its purpose. It's got its strength. It's going to have its challenges, but I am also really good with where I'm at. And one of the things I think that I sent you some messages about on the weekend was that you need to embrace where you are and enjoy that moment. And when you have that positive energy, that expansion, that happiness of, you know what, I'm good as I am, but I want to also be better. That's much different than I'm broke and I need to fix this.
Yeah.
And in the future, at some point, I'll be good. And that is not what we're trying to impart on people, is that you're good right now. You might have a hard moment. Lord knows Catherine and I have had our hard moments. And some days it's really hard to look at the bright side of life, as they say, but that gets better with practice. And when you can start to shift and go, you know what, I'm so grateful that I'm able to appreciate where I am and also know where I want to be and have those things and move towards something. That's a much more powerful energy than, gee, I hope someday I get there. Because you'll never get there with that mindset. You just won't. It's always going to be in the future. You'll always be chasing the sun, the horizon, the sunset, whatever you want to call it. And it's never going to feel right. And if you do get it, you're still going to be unhappy because you're not happy right now. Happiness isn't something in the future. Happiness is something you choose in the moment. And when you can choose that, then everything moves forward with so much more purpose. It's just so powerful, but you got to be good with where you are.
Yeah, I think that talking about the energy you bring to self improvement is a topic more people should talk about. And it's a little bit of an abstract topic, but I'll do my best with it. People can go on a self improvement journey with varying energies, right? And what I mean by that is somebody can go, like you're saying, let's say you want results in the gym. Someone can go and be so unkind to themselves. You're weak. You need to push harder. Like you look terrible. Like you can just be so mean to yourself, and you can use that energy to push you to achieve your goals. Or you can go to the gym and you can say, I'm so proud of you, self, for being at the gym today. And look at you. You lifted the same weight as yesterday. Let's get one more lift in. You got this, like you're tired or whatever. I'm so proud of you for taking a rest. There are so many different ways that we can talk to ourselves in our head on a self improvement journey. And again, you and I have tried many different ways to develop habits and improve different aspects of our life. And more often than not, good energy attracts good energy, and bad energy attracts bad energy. And so, as we're going through this, our biggest piece of advice for those listening is again, being kind to yourself, congratulating yourself on the journey, telling yourself good job for even the smallest results, because that will attract more results. And
Yeah.
also, I would say, Andrew, not trying to improve too many things at once is another tip.
That's a really good one. I think we'll get to that next. My experience with that was the same. I remember the first time I went on a treadmill, the first time you ever run on a treadmill is just really, really weird because you're not moving forward in the way that you normally do. And I was embarrassed. And then suddenly I know this is a movie reference, but the drill sergeant from the beginning of Full Metal Jacket showed up next to me and was like, run, maggot. And I ran and I ran and I ran. And I did this for years with this voice in my head. And I ran races. I did a lot of running, but every time I was still a maggot, and that sucked.
Yeah.
And now when I go, I'm like, oh, let's just do one more, I always kind of run by the lamppost and whatever. Okay, one more lamppost. Hey, you did it great. And let's do another one. And that attitude of not calling myself a maggot actually helps. You actually get to an end of something and going, wow, I feel so much better. I have encouraged myself through this growth process. And I think you need to be your biggest cheerleader. We can cheer you on all day long. We love doing that with our coaching clients because we want to be but the support you really need to foster first and foremost is that one in between your ears, where it's that voice that's just going, you can do this. This is a good thing. Keep going, rather than you're never good enough. You're not going to make it. I know both can be very motivational, and I know it's the carrot stick mentality, but the carrot actually feels a lot better. And I'll even offer this up. If the being negative to yourself was working, don't you think you'd be happy by now? Don't you think you'd be enjoying it by now? And you're probably not, because you're still beating yourself up. There is a way to enjoy this. Yes, it's going to feel very foreign, but you can embrace that.
Yeah.
That's the big thing, is just to kind of try to shift to a more encouraging frame of mind when you do it.
I never knew that about you before. I've never heard you say that, but it's probably because it had a movie reference in it and you knew I would not understand or know what you're talking about at all. So I understand why you didn't share that before. So the next tip is to not take on too many things at once. And again, over the years, we have refined our process. As we've worked with people, we have found different things that have worked. And I now go through the different levels. If you go back and listen to our Layers of Life podcast episode, you'll see what our coaching process is. We even have a series of 5 podcast episodes that explains each week of our coaching process. But within each layer of your life, there are multiple different things that you can focus on. But now we've started asking our coaching clients to choose the one or two that's most important to them. You can always go back and work on your health, or work on your fitness, work on your finances, but maybe right now in your life it's spirituality that you want to work on. It's building a community or reconnecting with friends after a life transition. There's certain things that people need at different seasons of their lives. And so don't feel like you're not doing a good job or you're not improving if every single aspect of your life is not getting better. Sometimes it's a win for just one part of your life to start going a little bit better for you.
I would say that's a really powerful thing. And something that I've started doing is I've been doing the Dr. Joe morning meditations. And it's like you pick two aspects that you focus on. And of course, my ego brain kind of goes, let's just do it all. Let's tackle everything at once. And let's be, fit, and let's be rich, and let's have all these friends, and let's have a successful, thriving business that reaches millions of people. And let's have the pocket. And it just kind of goes on. And I'm like, nope, we're just going to sit here today and we're going to feel worthy. That's all we're going to do. And when you focus on those one or two things, you can actually move forward faster. And it's counterintuitive because we all think we got to do a million things at once to be productive. But if you look at your life as a puzzle, as everyone knows, I love my puzzle references. If you get that one piece and you're like, okay, I'm going to figure out where this piece goes. And once it's in place for good. Then you can move on to the next piece, and then the next piece, and the next piece. When you are scattering through that puzzle box, trying to think, grabbing handfuls of things, going, I just want to make this work now. I'm just going to smash them all together and hopefully something sticks. Your intention is distracted. Your mind just isn't there. So give yourself permission to just pick those one or two things at a time that you want to get better at. Even if it's something like, I want to go for a walk every morning. Great, do that. But don't do that and then try to completely revamp your diet and then try to, revamp your sleep and do all these things at once, because by the end of the first week, you're going to be failing at some of them, maybe all of them. You're going to feel like a failure. So stop loading yourself up with too much, because you're just setting yourself up for failure. And that is not what we want for anyone. We want you to take everything one step at a time. And that's what we, in our programs, that's what we preach in the podcast, in our posts, is one step at a time. You'll do all the other steps. I promise you will get through them, but you got to do this first step. You got to focus on your spirituality. You got to focus on your health. You got to focus on your finances, but just one, because when you get that down, you got it. You understand how to budget your money. You understand how to invest. You understand where you're spending. And once you know that, then you can move to the next thing. Then you can start, figuring out how to cook healthy meals if that's the thing that's important to you. Then you can move on. I really think that we take on way too much in this society, and it's really important for us to just chill.
Yeah. That is what came up for me, is the idea and the reminder. We talk a lot about societal expectations in North America on this podcast. Let's tell it like it is. Life's busy. Anybody who's, in their 30s is working, trying to take care of families, trying to pay their bills. The world has felt very chaotic lately. The news is very negative. It seems that, if you look at all of that and you focus on all of that, it feels like the world is a very negative place and that it's not getting any better. And so by trying to fix a million different things in an already busy schedule where you're already overwhelmed, it's a recipe for more self-loathing, for being hard on yourself, or feeling worse. And the point of this podcast is to teach others how to effectively improve your life. And in order to do that, like Andrew said, focusing on one small thing at a time. It's not, if you wake up at 7 every day and you want to be a 5 a.m. person, that's a recipe for failure if you start setting your alarm at 5 a.m. every day. We're big proponents of setting the alarm back 10 minutes and then letting a week go by and doing another 10 minutes and another week go by and another 10 minutes. For me, I've learned that I much prefer a slow roll because it sticks better. It took Andrew and I an entire year to make eating healthy a habit. A year. It's supposed to only take 60 to 90 days to make a habit stick. It has taken us an entire year to make this just how we live now versus a daily, difficult decision.
Yeah. And even then, like, that year was a lot of small steps. It was, okay, let's cut out this food and see what it does for us. Oh, we're better with that. Okay, let's add it back. Okay, it's still bad for us. And there's been a lot of kind of, not side steps, and I don't want to say step forward, step back, but like the progress that we made was not linear. It wasn't like, okay, we're just going to have eggs every morning, and then we're going to have bone broth at lunch, and then we're going to have a salad at supper, and we're going to make sure we get all our calories. That's a lot. Like, I think when you and I were starting that, we probably weren't aware of all the changes that were going to happen. And now that we look back, it's like, wow, look at all we did. Whereas if we were to go back to a year ago's version of us and say, this is how you're going to eat, I would have hid under the blankets probably for a good solid week going, there's no way I can do this. This is just sound, you're asking me to give up all these things that I like and that you're telling me they're bad for me and they're hurting me, but I'm so used to eating them. I've eaten them my whole life. And that's kind of the point is you need to be looking back on your progress as you're doing this stuff. I think that's a real key to constantly improving yourself is to, and I think it's Ben Hardy talks about the gap in the gain. And when you are focused on the gap, that place from where you are to where you want to be, it's always going to be there in one form or another. And that's going to make you feel terrible. And you know that, listener, I know you know that. I know you're looking at, I want to have this car, this thing, this idea, this peace of mind, and I don't have that yet. But if you turn around and look at, wow, I have saved up so much more money for this car than I did last year or 2 years ago. Wow, I have gotten so much better with my health. Wow, my mindset is so much better. Wow, I actually am nurturing and caring for myself way better than I did a year ago. That feels a million times better than beating yourself up. So I think that's a really big part for that constant improvement is to keep looking back and how far you've come. You want to know where you're going for sure. And the expression is you can't drive looking into the rear view mirror, but it's good to see how far you've come. And sometimes you get some pretty good views in the rear view mirror when you see what you've been able to overcome. And it just gives you more energy to move forward.
I definitely agree with that. And so, if I were to give concrete steps for people listening to this podcast, if someone came to us and they were searching for, how to be successful on their self improvement journey, just to sum up everything that we've said, I would say the very first thing is what?
I would say the first thing is to know where you are and to know where you want to be. Those are the two things and why you want to be there. Because so many of us, and we've seen this, is we blindly want to get to that next step and we don't necessarily think about the why. So why do you want to be healthier? Why do you want to have the beach body? Why do you want to have the car, the job, the career, the partner, the family, the item? What is the why for that? Because when you know that, then you know why you're doing it. Then the next step is to find gratitude for where you are and enjoy the journey because that is all life is. Life is just a constant journey. When you get that thing, you're going to want to move to the next thing. So you need to learn to be happy and present and have gratitude for where you are. Then you're going to find the first step. And you're going to make that step so easy that it is going to feel like this is it. Is really, you want that reaction. Like, that's all I got to do is wake up 1 minute earlier today or 5 minutes earlier. That's not hard. Exactly. We don't want it to be hard. We want you to start gaining momentum. And when you start with that, so you start just moving forward with that purpose and you can get up 5 minutes early. Let's just use that one because it's an easy one that everybody thinks they need to do. But really, 5 a.m. doesn't work for me, but let's pretend. And when you get to that point, you go, okay, I'm waking up 5 minutes earlier. Then you're going to look back and go, wow, I used to be this person that woke up at 7. Now I wake up at 6:55. That's awesome. You're going to encourage yourself. You're going to change your brain to start finding the good in what you're doing. You're going to become your biggest cheerleader. And then you're going to reassess. You're going to think about the next step once you have that one lockdown. And then let's just make it easier again. We're going to wake up 5 minutes earlier. So now we're waking up at 6:50 for the next 6 weeks, 7 weeks to make it a habit. 90 days, everybody's different. I know we all want to have like this magic number that's going to like lock us down, but everybody's different. Sometimes it happens in a week. Sometimes it happens in months. And then you're going to lock that down and then you're going to keep moving with gradual progress. And you might decide, you know what, this is really easy. I think I can do 20 minutes right now or a 10-minute jump. Great. You do that. And then once you lock that down, you keep moving forward with purpose, with intentionality. You know why you're doing it. And that is how you continuously improve. And then once you get to be the 5 a.m. person that you've always dreamed of being and you enjoy it and you love it, then you go pick the next thing. You're like, okay, what do I want my morning routine to look like? Do I want to read? Do I want to meditate? Do I want to go for a jog, a walk? Do I want to just sip coffee quietly and enjoy the stillness of the morning? And then you start putting that next little step in. And that's how you continuously improve. That's how you continuously grow, is by adding one piece to your puzzle every few weeks, every month, whatever makes sense for you. And that's how the growth happens.
Yeah. I think that's a really good summary of everything. And the point I want to highlight the most for people is try to be kind to yourself this time. Maybe you've tried a lot of different goals throughout your life. Maybe you've fallen off the wagon. And more often than not, if you're anything like us, I know that you've been hard on yourself when things haven't gone the way you wanted or when you didn't reach your goals at the time that you wanted to reach them. And so if you've come here and you're listening to this podcast or you're finding our video, try being nice to yourself this time. Just try it. See if the results are any different, because kindness is going to attract more kindness. The more you praise yourself, the more you're going to feel good about the journey. And if that's the one thing that's different this time, I think that you'll find that you'll get to where you want to be.
I love that. I'd like to address something you just said there because I think it is going to be the number one deterrent for people in their growth journey. And that is, I tried this before and it didn't work. So there are two ways to look at that. The first is to look at it and go, I tried getting up earlier and it just didn't work. I'm not a morning person. I hit the snooze button over and over and over again. Okay. What did you learn from that? Clearly, there's something in there that you're meant to learn. There's a lesson in there. Why did that happen for you? Reframe your, I'm going to use air quotes to say failures and setbacks as reasons to learn and lessons that you need to understand. And when you can learn those lessons and understand those lessons, you can look at it and go, oh, I'm not a morning person. I love working into to midnight because that's my best creative time. That's why mornings suck for me. So, okay, I learned this lesson. Now I don't have to try to force myself to do this thing that I read in all these books that makes sense to everybody else but me. It really doesn't. A lot of people are more night people, but you get that idea of this is the lesson I was meant to learn from this. And you and I can attest, from the last year of just switching up the diet, there's a lot of lessons that we learned, and they're not great lessons when you're learning them, but it's you tell yourself, okay, this food hurt me. It never used to, but now my body's cleaned up and it just is processing things differently. I can't eat this anymore. It sucks, but the lesson is, yay, I found something that's going to harm me, that I'm not going to put in my body anymore. So I think when you are looking at your setbacks, when you're looking at those things that it didn't work for me before, there's a lesson in there. Learn the lesson, because you're just going to have to use that as fuel for your fire as you move forward.
And you guys can email us anytime. Let us know what you're working on. Our email is hello@5yearyou.com. 5 is spelled out. And we'd love to support you on your journey. All right, Andrew. It's time to move on to glimmers.
Okay. So my glimmer is the book my mom gave me yesterday. She knows I don't like to read, so I listen to audiobooks, but she's like, this book is 98 pages. It's going to help you. And it's from the library, so it has to go back this week. Please give it a consideration. So I read it. It's called Walking Your Blues Away, and it's all about bilateral stimulation in the brain and how that helps to process PTSD and daily traumas and all this stuff. It was just fascinating. It was a nice, really quick book by Thom Hartmann, and I'm really grateful for it because it feels nice to get a book read. It's nice to sit down for one night and read a book, but I really like the idea. And what it really got me to do is to understand why walking is so much better for all of us. We all need to walk more after reading that book. I'm like, yeah, I'm making the commitment to walking every day.
I love that so much.
How about you, Kat?
Yep. For me, Andrew got me onto bulletproof coffee, which is a way to drink your coffee that has a lot of healthy fats in it. And it's just it takes your coffee from being a regular coffee to being a very nutritious start to your day. But if you've ever come across bulletproof coffee, it has all these ingredients and it takes all this time to put together. But now they've come out with all-in-one pods from the Bulletproof brand. So I don't have to buy MCT oil and all this stuff separately. And I've been buying these little pods. It tastes a little different than if you would go and, spend $10 on it at a fancy coffee shop, but it gets the job done. And I'm really grateful for it and for the discovery of it. And I've been having that every morning. You can get them off Amazon.
Love that. Yeah, those pods are just a lifesaver, especially when you're traveling. They're so good. All right, listeners, thank you so much for listening. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and here's to your constant improvement. We'll see you next time.
Hey guys, quick disclaimer. We're podcasters on the internet. If you need to seek professional help, please go see your healthcare professional.